Welcome to a new Precious Plastic update.
Exactly today, Precious Plastic turns 10 and we have a massive €100,000 gift for the Precious Plastic community.
Happy birthday to Precious Plastic! Whoa, is it Precious Plastic's birthday?
Okay, so today, on the 21st of October 2023, Precious Plastic turns 10. Woohoo! It's the first time that I'm shooting confettis and it's actually a huge mess all over. Not very precious plastic, is it? Sorry guys. Woo! More cake! Happy birthday, Precious Plastic! Over the last 10 years, chocolate has been one of the main driving forces of Precious Plastic. Okay, where were we? So this is Precious Plastic, and for the past 10 years we've been enabling as many people as possible to turn plastic waste laying around them and turning into beautiful, precious and valuable products. This way, tackling the plastic waste problem one product at a time. Alright, but what is a birthday without a gift, right? That's why we put together this huge gift for the Precious Plastic community. To be precise, it's a €103,000 gift for the community. So make sure to stick around until the end so you can learn everything about it. Let's now go back to the very beginning of Precious Plastic and this guy that you've seen in the intro shot. For those of you that have been under a rock for the past decade or so, this is Dave Atkins, Dutch industrial designer that pretty much single-handedly started the small-scale plastic recycling movement, a YouTube star, and more simply, the founder of Precious Plastic.
So I guess Precious Plastic started as a graduation project, that's cool. Mainly hearing like how much plastic in the world, how much waste is created, how little gets recycled. And then hearing all the people that want to recycle, so it seemed like something didn't really make sense. People want to recycle, there is a lot of material, but it doesn't happen. And then after some research, I sort of figured it's probably because people don't have the tools to do it themselves. Not like a workspace where you have other kind of tools to work with. With plastic it's very hard, so I started developing the tools to recycle plastic and sharing them open source online for free, so everyone in the world can start recycling the plastic.
Exactly 10 years ago today, on the 21st of October 2013, Dave clicks the publish button on the first ever Precious Plastic video. Precious Plastic starts super humble. Dave, a design student back then, simply wanted to melt some of this plastic to try and find a solution to this problem that was becoming more and more mainstream, while of course getting his design degree. And quite frankly, this could have been the end of Precious Plastic if it wasn't for the first of many genius intuitions from Dave that made the small-scale plastic recycling movement possible. Together with this couple of videos explaining what Precious Plastic is, he also set up a very simple website where people could download all the technical drawings to replicate those machines. A very simple, yet kind of revolutionary idea. This is definitely not what they teach you at design school. In the following year, 3 people managed to find the website, download all the designs and technical drawings, and make their own recycling machines based on Precious Plastic. Wait, so you're actually trying to tell me that people managed to find this website and replicate their own machines? But what if more people were actually able to access those open knowledge to create recycling machines? This is a total eye-opener. Free and open knowledge can travel far and wide and have a great positive impact. This will become one of the key pillars of Precious Plastic. Meanwhile, Precious Plastic also wins €10,000 award from Stimulating Fund to develop the project further. Okay, it's now 2015 and Dave uses the €10,000 that he just won to hire an engineer to improve the machines and assemble a small team to develop Precious Plastic version 2.
So I'm donating the prize money I won to someone that can. A job offer for you machine builders out there. €10,000 to develop them.
This is also when Taco comes into the picture, a Mexican engineer that decides to pay for his own flight to come over and help develop Precious Plastic.
Hello Dave, my name is Alejandro Luna and I'm a mechatronic engineer. That means if it has bolts and wires, I can make it work.
And really hats off to Taco because this first move inspired hundreds of more people to come and help develop Precious Plastic. And early 2015 is also when I joined Precious Plastic. After a short experience making cups in Berlin, I decided to join the team. And while Dave, Taco, and Keith were developing the machines in the workspace that will become part of version 2, I made sure that we had a proper logo and website to make sure that as many people as possible could actually come across this precious knowledge. A funny little personal anecdote here. Back then, Precious Plastic had zero money to pay people, and I mean zero. I then decided to sell everything I owned and buy myself this yellow van from the German Post. This way, I could live in it and cut my costs dramatically. So I wouldn't have to worry about money while I dedicate my full life, energy, and time to develop Precious Plastic. On the 24th of March 2016, we released Precious Plastic version 2 to the world, with tons of recycling knowledge, 20 plus video tutorials, and all the technical drawings that you would need to start your own small-scale plastic recycling project. In version 2, we released the first model of the shredder, the extrusion machine, the injection machine, and the compression oven.
This bottle is made from plastic. Actually, a lot of things we have are made from plastic. It's used everywhere, but it also ends up everywhere, damaging our planet. Which is weird. It's a precious material laying around everywhere, for free. We could also turn this waste into something new. Unfortunately, we haven't got the machines to do this ourselves. They're only for the big boys. So we develop machines that enable everyone to work with plastic and start their own little factory.
And we couldn't choose a better time for launch. The world was simply ripe for it. Within a few weeks, we had hundreds of millions of people coming across the project with major media covering it. And after all the hard work, this was exactly the push that we needed to make sure that people knew that they could now recycle plastic small scale. No need for big machinery or investment, just a lot of enthusiasm and a bit of building skills. And within less than a year, tens of thousands of people downloaded the download kit and hundreds of them managed to replicate the machines and start recycling plastic. And this was the confirmation of our thesis. People actually want to start recycling plastic and take it onto themselves to tackle the big plastic waste problem.
Subscribe on YouTube. The YouTube needs a bigger audience. Now, thanks all watching the videos, making the machines, sharing what you make, just recycling. It's cool. I feel like I spend less time on it now, but it's really cool seeing people still passionate and active about the topic and working on it on a daily basis.
At the beginning of 2017, we met with Dave in the Netherlands to understand where we should be directing our energies. So after launching the Banana campaign, yes, I know, Banana campaign.
This new version would make plastic recycling go bananas.
So we gathered a group of product designers and started to work on Precious Plastic version 3, with the main goal being to develop techniques and processes to enable people to use their machines at their best and create valuable and precious products. And this is when our one and only Kat joins.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday, Precious Plastic! I'm Kat, and I actually got this name from Mattia, who called me like this from day one that we met, so thank you for that. So I found Precious Plastic while I was researching about plastic waste and recycling in Kenya, and while getting involved in some other projects here, building recycled plastic sailing boats and starting to build the Precious Plastic machines and diving into the Precious Plastic community, that's when I joined version 3, where aside of the product design and techniques and physical things, we also looked at the online tools and we created for the first time the Precious Plastic Bazaar as a marketplace for the community to find anything that you need within this small-scale recycling world. And fast forward to today, it's actually amazing to see how much that grew, how much more accessible it is to buy such small-scale recycling machines, parts, molds, flakes, anything you can imagine in this world. So our plan worked out, and this is obviously thanks to all the machine builders and designers and all the community members that contributed with their things to populate the bazaar and make this such a useful go-to place to start.
And while working on Precious Plastic version 3, we also developed the first Precious Plastic pilot in collaboration with the UN Habitat, where we set up a plastic recycling center in Kisii, Kenya.
We're currently in Kenya and we transformed this old shed into a Precious Plastic workspace.
Lots of learning, tons of fun, and the first of many cool recycling projects. In 2017, we also worked with Bayernkopf, but I still can't pronounce their name, but it's basically a big department store in the Netherlands. And together with them, we've done this exhibition/window display where we were really telling people and passersby plastic is precious. So we filled one of the windows with tons of plastic waste, and the other one was reserved for precious plastic. So really to send the message to the people, to the masses, that plastic is precious.
And another big project we worked on during version 4 was to design and set up a whole recycling workspace inside a shipping container, basically creating a blueprint for sort of a plug-and-play recycling workspace in a container that can reliably be shipped and installed in any place in the world. And that container was shipped to the Maldives for our pilot project with Partly for the Oceans.
We're currently in the Maldives and we're going to show people how to recycle plastic in our precious plastic shipping container.
In October 2017, at the end of a very busy and creative year, as part of Dutch Design Week, we released to the world Precious Plastic version 3, as part of a big exhibition where we were showcasing tons of diverse products and techniques that people can use to recycle plastic small scale.
We are Precious Plastic and we don't like waste. So we made an entire plastic recycling workspace inside an old shipping container. It contains all the tools and machines to turn plastic waste into valuable things. Plastic is collected, shredded and turned into something new, all inside the space.
And the call to action was really simple. Hey designers, plastic waste is a great material to work with. Here are some machines and here are some techniques. Now do magic with it. And now 6 years later, people are making the most extraordinary products from recycled plastic, building pretty legit businesses from recycling plastic. A few months go by pretty quickly. We drove by in Chile to build the second precious plastic pilot in collaboration with Karun. And in June 2018, Famaya Foundation awards Precious Plastic with €300,000 to improve and scale its impact. Dave, Kat and I quickly meet in Portugal to decide what to do with this money. And realistically, €300,000 sounds like a lot, but they would only be enough to pay a few designers and engineers. And we thought, what if instead of paying a small team, we would actually use that money to facilitate as many people as possible. So Precious Plastic paying for accommodation, food, tools, materials, a workspace, and people dedicating their time, energy, skills to develop Precious Plastic version 4 together. A few weeks later, we put out a call for our community to come and help us develop Precious Plastic version 4.
A few weeks ago we won €300,000 and we're going to use all of this money to fight the plastic waste problem, inviting passionate people from around the world to work with us to find a solution for this big plastic waste issue. And it's going to be free and open source for the entire world to use.
Next thing that we know is that for the next 18 months we've been developing Precious Plastic version 4 with over 100 volunteers from around the globe. And that was an experience that probably no one involved would ever forget. I even got married. In January 2020 we released Precious Plastic version 4 with plenty of recycling innovation, amongst them the Precious Plastic sheet press, which is quite literally changing the recycling game, and a bunch of business tools that now enable people to turn their recycling passion into a business.
So I guess by now you are quite aware of this big plastic waste problem. But all of this isn't really waste. With some love and care, the right machines and with the right techniques, you will see that it's a precious material. This new precious material can be turned into big colorful sheets to make stuff with, a brick to construct walls, small functional objects, or fancy furniture.
Of course, 2020 being 2020, the release of version 4 was a bit slower as a few weeks later the whole pandemic thing started. However, the Precious Plastic community really showed the potential of a decentralized and open source community. People quickly came together to design new personal protective equipment and share them open source. Within a matter of weeks, hundreds of thousands of protective equipment were produced from recycled material and used in hospitals and different facilities across the planet.
I think one important thing which we still didn't really master well is the online collaboration of people sharing back the tools, the research, to really create a global movement around recycling. Feels a bit sad seeing many people do that, but there still isn't that place. We're working towards it, and more these years as well. That's cool that the current Precious Plastic team has that as a full focus. But it's still a long way to go, and it requires us to have good tools, people online and on the other side of the world to actually share back. But it feels like that's one of the most important things of Precious Plastic, to learn from each other, to share what you made, so others can benefit from that. I think it got a bit lost throughout the years, also due to not much money available to run all of that. But I think, yeah, it's back on the priority again, and I think it requires us all to do that. So I think that's the main part to improve.
Ever since releasing Precious Plastic version 4, the team has been trying to find viable ways to sustain itself so that we can keep on supporting the growing Precious Plastic movement. And this is really where Jan and Caro took the lead.
We made some really cool projects for larger brands to help them set up small-scale recycling centers around the world. This enabled us to maintain a permanent Precious Plastic team, as well as put the V4 design to the test in real-world situations.
These projects were really fun and they taught us a lot. They allow us to improve the machines, making them safer and more robust. Plus, we went on some cool adventures around the world, getting a real feeling of the unique challenges of each place we went, and how Precious Plastic can be a real solution.
This is a story of how we went to the biggest city in Africa and teamed up with a local entrepreneur to help create a local circular economy for plastic waste in Lagos, Nigeria.
This is the story of how we went to Jordan to set up a Precious Plastic workspace, entirely run by women. The project is in collaboration with Princess Laura Faisal and has two main goals: tackling the plastic waste problem whilst empowering the local community. And it all started with these three.
When you think of going to the desert, you picture sand, lots of it. You picture cactuses and camels, occasionally a dead tree. What you probably don't expect is trash, and lots of it. Want to find out why waste is being dumped and burned in the Sahara Desert? How a bunch of goofballs, like ourselves, turn this empty space into a plastic recycling facility? How we make this out of this? And how we empower the local people to do so? Well, stick around for this one.
And if you made it this far, I like to think that you understand the value that Precious Plastic brings onto this planet. And for as much time and energy as we put into finding a viable business model, realistically it's hard to run a global open source hardware project. Realistically, there's not any business models out there that we can copy or take inspiration from. So if you want to help us with this and you have some money laying around, make sure to make a donation to Precious Plastic. And if you run a Precious Plastic workspace and you're making a profit, make sure to give back to Precious Plastic a little percentage, a little portion, a little donation, whatever. It will fill up first our hearts and then, of course, a little bit our bank accounts so that we can keep on providing value to the world. And this takes us back to 2023. I really hope that you enjoyed the ride. Now, 10 years is a great achievement. However, in and of itself doesn't really mean much. Precious Plastic mission is to end plastic waste, and we take our positive impact on this planet very seriously. Otherwise, what's the point of sticking around for 10 years? Let me start by saying that to calculate the real impact of Precious Plastic is kind of impossible. There are simply too many variables. Now, to shine some light over the Precious Plastic impact, back in April 2023, we ran an impact survey amongst our community to collect some data to understand a little bit about the impact of Precious Plastic. Now, the data that we collected is not precise or definite in any ways. It just helps us to picture a rough idea of the Precious Plastic impact on the ground. The 500 organizations entering the report reported recycling almost 600,000 tons of plastic waste, generating over $36 million in revenue, employing over 6,400 people, and working with more than 11,000 volunteers. Now, this data is only concerning 2022, so you can imagine how the Precious Plastic impact over the last 10 years is quite significant. If you are into this topic and data and impact, make sure to watch this video where we go over all the details of our impact report.
Yeah, I think originally the plan was, okay, you make machines, you share them online and hopefully people do it. And in the beginning, not really. But then after a while, people just, they started doing that. You see all the workspaces around the world being replicated. It's hard sometimes to realize it comes from those drawings, but if I really think about it, it's kind of cool. that if those drawings were not there, those places were probably not there. So I think that's kind of powerful to look back at, that it came from that.
So this is how precious plastic got where it is today. But before moving forward and showing you the big gift that we have for the community, I wanted to take a second to thank all the people that made precious plastic possible over the last decade. So first, I want to thank all the people that joined the precious plastic teams over the past decades. I mean, as precious plastic, we were never really able to offer great working conditions. Very low salaries, long hours, and almost no benefits. However, these people poured themselves into the project to try and shape it and make it better day by day. So in the name of Precious Plastic, I really want to show my full gratitude to everyone that joined the team over the last 10 years. Second, I want to thank all the volunteers that joined Precious Plastic over the past years. We're looking at hundreds of people that dedicated their life to come and help Precious Plastic for no financial compensation. You guys are just phenomenal, and I want to thank you from the entire Precious Plastic. And lastly, we want to thank all the tens of thousands of people that join us in this crazy idea that normal people could recycle plastic. All the people across the planet that dedicated their entire life to building machines, to recycle plastic, to make products, to create businesses, to educate people, and really to dedicate their full life to recycle plastic and tackle the big plastic waste problem. And it's exactly for these people, the precious plastic community, that we put together this big present for the 10th anniversary. And today is a huge pleasure for me to announce the launch of the Precious Plastic Open Source Fund. With 103,000 euros for the precious plastic community. Okay, should we take a little pause here and let it sink for a second? I mean, 100,000 euros for the precious plastic community. We honestly can't wait to see what you guys can do with this money. The Precious Plastic Fund is a fund that allows anyone working on small-scale plastic recycling to apply for funding to share their knowledge free and open source with the world, so that we can tackle the plastic waste problem together. And make sure to apply to the first round by the end of 2023. And this is how the fund will be divided and how the money will be spent. 50% of the fund, or 50,000 euro, is reserved for how-tos. These are already existing recycling innovations that just need a bit of funding and support to share their know-how with the rest of the world. So if you have a machine, a hack, a mold, a product that you want to share with the world, make sure to apply so you can get some funding to properly document it and film it and share it with the world the precious plastic style, free and open source. Another 30% of the fund, or 30,000 euros, is allocated for R&D. These are projects and ideas that still needs to be developed. The moonshots, the plastic scanner, the large 3D printer, the large sheet presses out there, they just need to be designed and developed to further tackle the big plastic waste problem. 10% of the fund, or 10,000 euros, is reserved for retroactive awards. This money is reserved for the people that share their knowledge free and open source before the 21st of October 2023. These people share their intellectual property free and open source without any financial incentives. These are true heroes and we want to reward them. So if you've published the how-to until the 21st of October 2023, make sure to apply for your retroactive award and get some money for your beautiful contribution. And the last 10%, or 10,000 euros, will go to admin costs. Basically all the management work, all the admin work, all the fundraising work that Precious Plastic has to put forward to make sure that this fund exists. So in the next few days, we're going to be releasing a full-length Precious Plastic Open Source Fund video where we're going to be going over all the details of the fund, how to apply, who can apply, all the FAQs. So if you want to get funded, make sure to stay tuned and check back in a few days. And for those of you that are not working on small-scale plastic recycling, but still like the idea of a Precious Plastic Open Source Fund, make sure to make a donation to the fund on our website so that we can make sure that the Precious Plastic Open Source Fund can run for many years in the future. Okay, so here we are celebrating a decade of working on small-scale plastic recycling. Version after version, machine after machine, plastic bottle after plastic bottle. Here we are in 2023 with this big, beautiful global community tackling the big plastic waste problem day in and day out. And even though today is a day of celebration, it doesn't take a genius to realize that our work has just begun. You just have to look around to understand how plastic waste is still a very pressing issue and threat to humankind and the planet at large. Fresh Plastic mission is to end plastic waste by enabling small-scale plastic recycling on a global scale, run by tens of thousands of people. Are you ready to join in and help us tackle the big plastic waste problem? Go on PressPlastic.com and learn how you can start your business from recycling plastic. And if recycling is not your cup of tea, make sure to go on support.PressPlastic.com and make a donation so that we can keep on fighting plastic waste together. Alright, that's it with this video. See you next week. Ciao!